Listen up and lock in. I've got 21 advanced tips to help you get better at Battlefield REDSEC. And I'm gonna have a lot of fun while I'm doing it.
I'm taking him down. You should have pings. Whoa! Oh my God! Starting off with tip number one, let's talk about how we can land first inside of REDSEC. Now, I used to think you had to perfect some sort of arc where you had to dive down, build up speed, pull up, or, you know, maybe do some sort of S-curve. None of that, okay? It's actually really straightforward. Now, it's important to notice, as you look around, there are different helicopters across the map, and teams jump out of those different helicopters, which means you may have a perfect drop, but someone can still drop ahead of you. Now, let's say I'm trying to land over there by those satellite arrays. What I like to think about is trying to make my drop path almost like a 30-degree, 40-degree angle, but look at my speed. Okay, my speed, I can maintain a great glide as long as I maintain above 40. When I fall below 40, I'll just start sinking, and you cannot regain that speed. So my general strategy, because I don't like to err too much on the side of getting towards, you know, 45, 40, and then falling out of the sky, is I'll keep gliding in that plane until I see that path where I know I can maintain about a 45-degree angle down, and then I try to maintain at least 50 miles per hour. That way I can pull up a little bit, maybe for a little balloon at the end, but that's gonna be the best way. I've tried other ways of trying to float forward and then skyrocket down. The best solution for me has been that kind of 45-degree, angling it straight, and don't do any of this S-curve stuff, and do not go below 40 miles per hour. For tip number two, I'm up here on top of the Defense Nexus crane. This is like a crazy power position to sit up and just take some pot shots at people who have no idea that you're up here. And a lot of people think it's impossible to challenge it unless they go up the zip line, which is basically a death trap. But if you look at these cinder blocks right here, these are basically counterweights. And if you look at the clip in the background, you can actually target these counterweights with RPGs, tank shells, C4s, the recon drone dropping a mortar on it, a lot of different things. It doesn't have a lot of health, and you can completely take out this crane with ease by exploding the counterweight. For advanced tip number three, you can actually put your plates on faster. Now, we know the assault class can put on plates 33% faster, but you can actually apply all of your plates at once. Most people think you have to apply a plate, it puts that plate in, you put the weapon out, and then you apply your next plate. That's not actually how it works. You can, both on controller and keyboard and mouse, I gotta fully crack myself here. All you have to do is hold the plate button the entire time, or hold the plate button to start the plating, and then before you finish the animation of your first plate going in, re-hold the plate button, and you will go back-to-back plates. So this is me holding the plate button. All I'm doing is holding the plate button, and you will see both plates go in. I think eventually they should add a fully, like, you know, apply all plate option. Or the other option is, this time I'm going to press the plate, hands off, and then re-hold it, and you will see that plate continues to go in. This could add you that extra half a second that you need to get the full plates to rechow an enemy, or to get your health back up, or it's just plain annoying. If you didn't know this, make sure you drop a like and subscribe for even more tips. For advanced tip number four, you should probably know this by now, but I really want to encourage a counterplay to this. If someone's downed on the ground, instead of just shooting them, you can actually interrogate them or take them down. And as you pull off their dog tags, their entire enemy team will be pinged with both the diamond and like an outline around them, to where you can see through the walls, basically giving you wall hacks. Okay. You should know this by now. And if you have someone that's safe, that was out of position, and you can take them down, do it. But I want to encourage you, if it is getting done to you, do your teammates a favor. Get on the line.
Oh, sweet Jesus, he's got me. He's got me. He's interrogating. He's taking me down. He's got wall hacks. Run, run. Oh, sweet God, run.
Ah, yes, the voice changer. You may have noticed I've thrown in a few comedic moments so far, but there are thousands of moments to be had thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Voicemod.
Now, Voicemod, which has always been available on your PC, is now available for your console as well, using the new Voicemod T.
And the nice thing is you can just switch it on and off if you want to troll around in prox chat. They've got one specific to Battlefield that I've been using throughout this video. You can now use it on console as well. And not only do they have hundreds of their own that they've made, they've got community ones, and they have a whole selection of soundboards as well for any comedic moment, messing with your friends. It can be... It's a lot of fun. I think combined with some of the stuff that I've been doing in my stream and in the environments we're building here, I think it's a perfect pairing. If you want to check it out, the link's down in the pinned comment and the description. Huge shout out to them for sponsoring today's video. You can check out the Voicemod key down in the link in the pinned comment as well. And if you use the code GEARUP, you can use the megaphone voice that I'm going to be using later on in this video. Huge shout out to Voicemod for sponsoring today's video. For the number 5 advanced mechanic, this is just way too important for me not to double tap it. I mentioned it in our ultimate guide, but I'm still seeing way too many questions about it in my Twitch chat, even to this day. So you have abilities that you can level up. It's like your training path, similar to how it was in multiplayer. On the right-hand side of your screen, as you get kills, complete missions, or pick up intel caches, you will gain experience. With each one of those levels, you're going to gain access to a new ability for your class. So for example, for me with Recon, I gain the ability to be Bombardier, where I can drop a mortar from my Recon drone. Then I get Tracking Pulse, which allows me to spot enemies for 5 seconds after downing their squad mate. Basically another way that the game can kind of give you wall hacks for additional information. You should be calling that out if you get downed. And then the third, which I get so many questions about, Isaac, how did you just blow someone up with your drone? You just got a bomb drone kill. How did you do that? I leveled my character up to tier 3. And then I can drop a mortar, but if I switch weapons, I then can engage a bomb drone, which will cause my character to fly slower, or my recon drone to fly slower. And then after about 5 seconds, it'll blow up. From there, every class has something called stockpile, where every time you level up beyond that, it's going to give you an additional 10% time off on your gear recharge rate. Basically meaning if you're stacking through mission after mission after mission after mission, getting a bunch of kills, picking up a bunch of intel caches, your gear recharge rate can be so fast. For me, I can put down a recon drone, and then basically in the end game, by the time that recon drone runs out of battery, I have another one ready to go. So I just wanted to really make sure you guys understand that. Do not skip out on that. And that is how you can level up and make your engineer, your recon, your support, your assault even more valuable as you go through the matches. Make sure you're leveling that up and utilizing those abilities as you unlock them, because they are very, very powerful. For advanced tip number 6, most people don't realize there is a handbrake that you can pull when driving a vehicle, and it radically changes how easy it is for you to move across the map. Because frankly, the vehicles kind of drive like crap. If you're just trying to regularly turn, it's kind of clunky. But on mouse and keyboard, there's a default bind to Z, but you can also rebind it. I'll show you where. And on controller, it's circle or B, and you'll see it locks up the rear wheels. Like when I press it, it locks up the rear wheels, and it allows you to take significantly sharper turns, hit the little J slides that you would in like Halo or something growing up, and it makes it so much more consistent for me to drive across the map than if I were to use just the regular pressing S on my brake, because when you press S on your brake, it stops you in your track. The handbrake allows you to whip some crazy turns, and has definitely gotten me out of some situations where maybe I'm driving down a street and I run into a tank. I can't believe they don't have it on the heads-up display, because it majorly changes how easy it is for me to drive around the map. Make sure, if you haven't already, press circle or B if you're on controller, and then off your mouse and keyboard, the default bind is Z, which I think is pretty bad, but all you need to do is go into mouse and keyboard settings, go into transport vehicle. You can also actually set this keybind for, I believe, on the tank as well, and the IFV. You go into transport vehicle, go to handbrake, and for me, I bound it to my rear mouse button, which is what I use to prone. So in my mind, prone, handbrake, it kind of makes sense to me, and it makes it to where I can whip those really fast turns, which has gotten me out of some really rough situations. All right, for number 7, let's talk about how to spot tanks easier. Now, I'm always the recon on my team. I'm an in-game leader. I try to have a lot of situational awareness. No matter if you're the recon or you're on a team with the recon, yell at your freaking recon in the final circles, or I guess the final moments of the game, to pull out their recon and fly it up. If you're in a power position just for a little bit, take the time to fly up and get a quick 360. That tank will show up white hot It's so hard to miss. Make sure your recon is always flying their drone and not taking pot shots a mile away. Make sure they're contributing to their team. Now, anyone can also go in and they can go into their settings. They can go into accessibility right here at the top, turn on their subtitles, and make sure their subtitles are on specifically for the instructor. I have mine set to normal, and then subtitle outline on, and then text opacity set to 100. And basically, the announcer will announce certain things. Hey, new missions are available. Hey, enemy dropping in above you. Hey, tanks in the AO. I'm going to be providing anti-tank supplies. That can help if you're maybe lost in the gunfire and you spot that text down below to remind you, hey, you got a tank in your area, so you're not as blindsided, because the audio isn't super reliable inside this game. Now, yes, don't get me wrong. Tanks are powerful inside of Battlefield REDSEC, but they are so easy to counter, and you should
Stop trying to make every game like Call of Duty just because you don't know how to adapt.
So I'm going to give you 7 tips on how to take out tanks. Some are extremely clever, some are pretty basic, but some I haven't seen anyone using.
Including you streamers who keep complaining.
So maybe this can help people enjoy Battlefield REDSEC a little bit more. Okay, so number 8, big picture, babysit your teammates. Anytime I see an anti-vehicle crate near me, I always call it out and I say, hey, does everyone have an RPG? Is everyone carrying an anti-tank? There is no reason that you should go into the end game and not have every single person on your team with either an RPG or maybe they're carrying a defibrillator. But like 3 people should be having an RPG. You can blow up power positions, you can team coordinate and instantly blow up another tank. Throughout the game, if there's an opportunity to loot an RPG or an anti-vehicle crate, direct your team to go get it. Let's get on to number 9. We already talked about earlier, the recon drone can be great for spotting enemies, spotting tanks. You can drop mortars, but did you know you get the most damage on a tank, not from hitting it from behind, but from hitting it underneath? So if you can find a tank that's distracted or have one of your engineers disable it for 8 seconds with their passive ability, which was leveled up, like we talked about earlier, you can fly the recon drone underneath and one-hit tanks. It is beautiful. I've pulled it off a few times, and every time just dopamine spike. If you didn't know you could do this, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any REDSEC Academy content. And if you want to catch it live, make sure to subscribe to my 3rd YouTube channel. It'll be linked in the description, as well as my Twitch, linked in the description as well. I have a lot of fun playing this game. Over, I think almost 200 wins, over 2,000 kills. We're fragging, frying. We got tournaments coming up. This game's a lot of fun. Moving on to number 10, what I call the Wombo Combo. As we mentioned, the engineer, when you hit it with its rocket, it disables tanks and IFVs for 8 seconds. Guess what comes in within 8 seconds? Airstrikes and artillery. Coordinate a Wombo Combo from your team. If you hear that a tank's coming up or you see one, the engineer launches a rocket, aim guides it in, disables it for 8 seconds. You then immediately follow it up with an artillery or an airstrike. I have never had an enemy tank survive that. Honestly, sometimes they try to tank it and they just instantly, pun intended, tank, and then they just blow up on the spot, or they know they're disabled and an airstrike's coming in and they scatter like rats and you can just kill them all so dang easy. Number 11, let's say you don't have the Wombo Combo set up. Maybe you're solo. Guess what? Bait them into you. Okay, if you don't have the RPGs, oftentimes you can end up finding tank traps. Okay, you have like the parachute mines, you have the slam mines, you also have C4s. Look in this clip, I throw down some of I just call them parachute mines. They shoot up into the air and then spike down on the tanks. And I just act scared and I start putting some pot shots into the tank like I'm a bot. Well, guess what? He rolls up into 3 of my mines that are set down, and then my teammates are able to finish him off, and then just, they take one of the power positions of the game or the power utilities of the game. They get too confident, and they walk right into my trap. Set traps. You don't necessarily need RPGs. You don't necessarily need airstrikes. Those little tank traps are amazing, and I don't see a lot of people using them. Also, if you're unfamiliar with some of the launchers, I got to point out, everyone knows the RPG. Okay, I would say everyone knows, but I love you, Swag. You've been playing military shooters your entire life, and you tried to lock onto a tank with a Stinger. So let me clarify. Obviously, we know the Stingers now are air-to-air only. Okay, RPGs, pretty straightforward. There's another one that a lot of people don't realize. It's the Law. So the MBT Law, as you'll see right here, is an auto-guided launcher. And if you look down in the bottom right, you can miss by a pretty significant margin. It will automatically find a target, fly up high, and then hit the tank on the weak spot up top. Now, what I like to do is, especially if a tank is over a ridgeline, I'll just shoot my missile over the ridgeline. It will spot it and then nosedive down on it. Obviously, we have air defense launcher, RPG split, self-explanatory. The Javelin, we all know the Javelin by now. You lock on, shoots up into the air. The aim-guided launcher is what the engineers have. Obviously, you can aim it into the target. And then the mines, the slams, we have some footage in the background that we've done already. But make sure you understand what the heck you're using and use them correctly, because for tip number 12, using these launchers correctly will determine whether or not your team is screwed or successful. Number 13, there are weak spots on tanks, but more than you know. So we already know, you should know by now, tanks have the strongest armor in front. They have kind of mid-tier armor on the sides and extremely squishy on the rear where the vents are. You have to hit the vents, and extremely squishy underneath. But what I didn't realize, I saw this video from Otter on Twitter. He's come up with some really cool stuff that I thought I was like the only one to figure out. I didn't know this one, so props to him. Apparently, the tanks have side panels where if you hit the same spot twice, it'll kind of splinter open, and then if you hit that again, it hits insane damage. So it might be worth knowing if maybe they have engineers on the other team that keep repairing it and you can't damage it fast enough. Hitting that same spot, coordinating the same spot could be an awesome way to hit a fatal strike. And then for number 14, if all else fails, you have the thermal sabotage. Every member of your team has access to this. It's a universal weapon kit where if you get close up to the tank and you interact with it, you will put on thermite that damages the tank and damages the crew inside and forces them to run out. So it's kind of one of those things where maybe you don't have explosives. Maybe you could smoke into it and run into it. Or like these clips from Strafe in the background, he just lays low until the tank comes up to him, puts that thermite on him, and then just runs away and gets the rest of the kills. So tanks are not that hard to counter. You just have to use a little bit more than your traditional Call of Duty brain. I say this because I'm coming from Warzone. I know it's tough. I like it though. I like vehicles, whether they stay in ranked or whether they stay in competitive. Totally different conversation. I think they belong in pubs. They give you an oh shit moment, and I really enjoy outsmarting people who think they have the advantage on me. And tanks and stuff, they're really not that hard to counter. Like I said, we're not going to get into it. Adapt. Stop crying. You're playing a new BR. Learn how to counter it. There's definitely some balance things. They should definitely be louder, possibly always on the mini-map. There's some balancing on those sides. In terms of health and stuff, I think they're pretty easy to counter. And that wraps up our 7 rapid-fire tips on how to take out tanks. Now let's bring it home with 7 rapid-fire tips. There are so many things we could cover. This video could be like 2 hours long and actually have multiple other videos scripted out. So if you don't want to miss out on any of this, and if you learned anything new, make sure to subscribe, like, and then again, comment down below if you guys have any suggestions for me on future videos to make, or if there's any additional insight or any additional tips you want to share with fellow members of the Academy, you can share them down in the comments as well. Number 15, you should know it by now, but I still see people running into walls and licking walls when they could just easily get themselves behind cover. Just quick melee to break through any fences in the game, any chain fences, any even bushes, like full up bushes. You don't need to slow mantle over the bushes. Just those little like boxwood hedges, just knife them, run right through them. Okay. I've killed so many people that are just licking a wall, trying to run around it. Just knife it real quick, knife the bush real quick, and you can get out even faster. Number 16, they have added a new mode called Casual Breakthrough. And I don't normally like casual modes. I think it kind of destroyed Warzone, but it is nice if you're trying to get levels inside of REDSEC, because leveling up guns inside of REDSEC is awful. It's horrible. There are some pretty cheesy modes that you can play inside of Portal. Some of them come and go as they get banned and whatnot, but this mode is staying, and Breakthrough is your best way to get infantry kills. And there's like majority bots. I think it's a 64 player lobby, and I think it's 8 on the enemy team and 8 on your team are real people. If you want to level up your guns quickly, because you are not going to level them up fast in REDSEC, and we're going to cover what guns, what best guns, meta weapons to use, etc. in a future video. Casual Breakthrough is new, and you should definitely check it out. For number 17, one of the contracts you can do is to decrypt something. And you think that you need to sit still in order for the decryption to move the fastest. That's kind of what the bar is displaying, but that's not the case at all. As long as the bar is green at all, it is moving at the same speed as if you were completely static. So if you want to, you can use the crouch sprint mechanic, and that will decrypt the item just as fast as if you were sitting completely still. So a nice little min-max way to move through the map and maybe not feel like you're as trapped as you are decrypting completely sitting still. For number 18, a lot of people didn't realize, and it's kind of tough, you can climb up the broken electrical towers. If you finesse your way up there and just run through a straight line, I've laid up there with a suppressed sniper and people are just lost, having no idea where to look, and it's a really fun sniper vantage point. I'm the recon of the team, so I think it's a lot of fun to find those high grounds, because there is no major high grounds outside of like downtown or maybe the crane outside of defense nexus. I think it's a cool way. Air traffic control is another one. I think it's a really fun way mid-map, and there's a few of those that you can climb up throughout the map. Number 19, you can also go up the zipline redeploys, pull your chute, and then mantle on top of it. And again, insane vantage point for while you're sniping. And then if you do get shot, you can jump and glide away and fly away pretty easily. It might be a little bit corny. If people catch you up there, you might get fried, but it is something that I've enjoyed doing. For number 20, this one's kind of a hidden mechanic, but if you found yourself in the end game and you've gotten in a lot of gunfights, but you haven't been able to loot up, you can hit a loadout crate and loot the exact same weapon that you've been using, and it basically will give you a fully loaded like we had in Call of Duty. So for example, if you've been sitting on a power position with a sniper, ripping sniper shots, but never gotten close enough to someone to loot their body, you can go to a loadout crate, loot the same weapon that you're already using, you'll drop that weapon on the ground, and then you'll have full reserve ammo, which will allow you to, get back into the fight faster without having to reach into, maybe a risky scenario to loot someone else's body. Just a nice little pro tip there. And then finally, advanced tip number 21. If you're looking for someone to play with, because playing either duos or quads in this game sucks, there is no solos inside of REDSEC, join the Academy Discord. The people who have been watching this video all the way to the end, taking notes on all these tips and tricks so they can be the best REDSEC player they can be, are looking for players like yourself who may be watching this video. Join the Academy Discord, meet fellow Academy members who are playing REDSEC, cool dudes, cracked at the game. You can hang out there, get a new squad mate, and it makes playing REDSEC a lot more fun, because solos with people who don't have your back and don't know these strats is not a good time.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the 21 advanced tips. 5-6 flames are coming in. I got a bail.
You don't want to wear a gas mask to sound like you have a gas mask on. Check out the sponsor of today's video, Voicemod. Shout out to them for sponsoring today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun making it. I will see you all on the next one. Peace.